static. Please stop sticking to my face. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Nah. Anyway, hello my lovelies. How's it going? So this week we are finally gonna open this. It's getting away from me. Kawaii mystery box that I actually bought back in August when me and my husband Elle went to Birmingham, when we went to visit the cafe. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I've filmed 4 videos today. Even though this one is going on YouTube first, this is the last one that I filmed today. And I have had a fresh coffee with every video. So if I seem like I'm losing the plot, it's because I am. But I've got a secret project coming up later in the year, which I need to make time for. So we're gonna have to deal with the crazy. So yes, we bought this box when we went to Birmingham to visit the cat cafe. We walked past a HMV and we saw these inside. And I was like, I've absolutely got to get one of these for the videos. I'm holding it upside down. Oh my gosh. I'm not refilming. It was on purpose, just to check you're paying attention. And you passed the test. So I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna see what kind of art it inspires. Now, just in case you haven't heard of the word kawaii, it basically means super cute or adorable in Japanese. It's that whole cute, cheerful, simplified, rounded aesthetic that you see in characters like Hello Kitty or Pusheen. Even if you haven't heard of the word, you've definitely seen kawaii stuff on the shelves. Now, confession time, I did actually open this box on the day that I got it, and I did film a reaction video, but I've lost it. It's gone forever. So I could either pretend to be surprised all over again, or I could just be honest. So I'm just gonna be honest. At least it will still be a surprise for you guys. Okay, let's show you what we got. Let's see what we got. First up, we've got a squishmallow, which isn't a squishmallow. It's a squidglies, some kind of pufferfish. I do really like the colour of this one, and the face is super cute, but I can't say I would have chosen him off the shelf. I guess that's how he's ended up in here. He was nobody's first choice. Sorry, the truth hurts sometimes. Next up, we've got it's kind of stuck, Hello Kitty bag, tote bag. Now this I like. I do love Hello Kitty stuff. It's very bright and colourful. Probably do prefer the more pastel stuff, but that's just being really nitpicky. It's cute, I'll definitely use it. Next up, we got a kawaii bear notepad. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Rilakama? I'm so sorry if I've just butchered that. Please do let me know how I'm supposed to say that. Yeah, this is really cute. Again, perhaps not my first choice for a colour palette, but I definitely will find a use for that, and I like it. Okay, next up, we have got a Pokemon hardback book called The Book of Joy, Words of Wisdom from the World of Pokemon. I like that. I like joyful quotes. And I love Pokemon. Meowth. Whining only makes you hungrier. I'll have to say that one to the kids. Ah. Oh yeah, kind of forgot I was filming a video there. I'm not entirely sure that this 100% counts as kawaii. I guess some of the Pokemon are super cute in their unevolved forms. So I'll let that one slide, and I do really like that as well. So now we've got 2 more items left, and this is where it goes kind of downhill in my opinion. We've got a My Hero Academia decorative flag. Now, I'm not an expert by any means, but I wouldn't say that's kawaii. I'd say that's more anime or manga. What do you reckon? I haven't heard of this before. I'm sure it's great, but it's just not what I signed up for. Last item, a black clover mug. Now, you guys know that I love a good brew, but this really isn't my cup of tea. I'd say that it's the opposite of super cute. Now, I did actually watch a few episodes of this to do some research and see if I could get some inspiration. And to be fair, it is quite good, but I still don't think that it belonged in this kawaii mystery box. It does feel like whoever packed this just kind of treated it as a general Japanese pop culture mystery box, which would be fine, but just label it as that. It is very clear that this is just a bunch of stuff that HMV couldn't sell. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I watched one of Mariah Elizabeth's videos like this, and she got like a whole bunch of random cables. But I guess I had higher hopes for this one, since it was from a high street store, not just some random person off the internet. There was like an unspoken level of trust to HMV. And now that trust is broken, shame. Do I wish that I had just spent the $24.99 on some Mariah merch or some Pusheen goodies that I saw in Claire's instead? Yes, but I am determined to turn this into something fun and creative, so it won't be a total waste. So at first, I did think about customizing something from the box, like this flag, but this thing is huge and I would need about a gallon of fabric paint. And have you seen how expensive that stuff is? But I couldn't stop thinking, what is the difference between kawaii and manga? So I had to explore that question further. So I went and ordered these two books by Yishan Li. One that shows us how to draw kawaii people and one how to draw manga. Now I have actually already worked through one of her books before on this channel, and that was How to Draw Kawaii Animals. And it's safe to say that I absolutely loved this book, as kawaii animals is pretty much all that I draw now. But I hardly ever draw people, and I don't think I've ever drawn manga. So this is the perfect excuse to try something new. So starting off with the kawaii book, I decided to set a 5-minute timer to sketch out this line work. Thankfully, I did quickly realise that I'd actually set a 5-hour timer instead. So after correcting that, I carried on. This tutorial begins with a really simple circle, then adds a few more basic shapes before moving on to the character's line work and features. Breaking the drawing down this way really helps you figure out that composition right from the start, and I actually found that I hardly needed to use the eraser at all because of this. If I tried to copy the final illustration straight away, I'd have definitely been erasing non-stop. I noticed that these kawaii characters have big round heads and eyes, short stubby limbs and tiny bodies. Their proportions are very baby-like, which I guess is exactly what makes them so cute. Next up, the manga book. This time I did give myself 6 minutes for the drawings because I could tell straight away that this was going to take longer. Instead of starting with really basic circles and rectangles, these characters have more of a skeleton base, very similar to drawing a realistic person at first, but then adding that recognisable manga styling at the end. I really loved how much expression this one had of a girl eating a hamburger. I didn't quite have time to add the drink as well, but I think I got most of the key details in those 6 minutes. Then I went back to the kawaii book and kept alternating, drawing the kawaii characters on the top row and the manga characters on the bottom row. I hardly ever draw at speed, I think mainly because of a lack of confidence, but it turned out to be such a great exercise for letting go of perfection and learning to trust my line work a bit more. Although I did have major neck ache about 3 drawings in. Clearly I was a little too tense racing that timer. Once all the sketches were done, I wanted to give them a nice clean outline so that they stood out a bit more. To keep up the challenge, I set shorter times of 2 minutes per kawaii drawing and 3 minutes for manga. The first few drawings did start off very shaky and I was running out of time really quickly, but as I went along I could definitely see that there was a noticeable difference in the confidence of the line work. This is definitely an exercise I'd love to revisit in the future, and I honestly can't recommend these books enough. There's absolutely no way I could have drawn these at this speed without Yishan Li's tutorials. They made it so much easier and so much more fun. So after getting all of that practice, I needed to think about what I wanted to draw in these two styles. I did think about switching the styles of all of the items in the box, like drawing these guys super cute and these guys super serious. But I just didn't know enough about their personalities and I would have had to do so much research, watching lots of episodes so that I could wrap my head around who these guys are. But I just wasn't into that idea. Art always works out best if you're actually into what you're drawing. So I had to think to myself about which characters or shows I actually enjoy to watch and might enjoy to draw. And straight away, I thought of the show Wednesday. Yeah, I just missed a massive chunk of hair there. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take them out. Anyway, yes, I have watched both seasons twice, and while I do clearly love all things cute and pink and cheerful, I do also love a bit of spookiness. And I actually do really like spooky music as well. Would it be weird to blast that in the car? Probably. Anyway, tangent. I think Wednesday and her best friend Enid would be perfect for this project. Enid is all about bright colours and cuteness, and Wednesday is the complete opposite. She's very dark and serious, just like the contrast between kawaii and manga. So I wanted to create some fan art of them in both of these styles. So I started off by sketching Wednesday and Enid manga style, following the same steps from Yishan Li's tutorials. Except this time, I wasn't copying from the book. I was drawing from imagination, which, as it turns out, is way harder. A few minutes in, I realised that their heads were way too big and their legs were never going to fit on the page, so I flipped over the sheet of paper for a fresh start. I was really missing my tablet at this point. I kind of wanted them standing back to back, Wednesday all serious with folded arms, and Enid doing her signature wolf claw pose, super excited to see her best friend. For Wednesday, I tried drawing lips since her dark lipstick is kind of iconic, but no matter how I tried, she just looked like a Bratz doll for some reason. I tried flipping through the manga book to check, and it seemed that most manga drawings don't have lips. So I decided to stick with just a small line. Even though I drew her glaring up from under her eyebrows, as she does in the series, she suspiciously looked a lot like Anna from Frozen at this point. I just had to hope that painting her hair black later will fix that. I straightened her legs out a bit because she does tend to stand quite rigidly. Gave her a baggy hoodie, then I decided to give Enid a lifted leg pose to show her energy. I probably did break a few anatomy rules in the process, but I think this stance is a lot more Enid-ish. I tried to give her a big excited grin and wide excited eyes, then tried to add some definition back into the hands. I was having some serious issues with these hands, but I think I got them to a point where they were just about acceptable. I added a big circle behind them for their spiderweb stained glass window, which is colourful on one side and plain glass on the other. It did really kind of hurt my brain trying to figure out the geometry, if that's the right word. But we got there in the end. It's a very chicken scratchy, scribbly sketch, but sometimes when you're unsure of a composition and you're just finding your way, it's best not to worry too much about how it looks yet. We can tidy it up later, which is what I did next using a Unipin fine liner. I noticed that manga tends to have really thin line work, so I tried to keep it light and as tidy as possible. I decided to outline the window in pink Posca so that it wasn't too harsh behind them. Then I moved on to the kawaii page. So for this one, I wanted to draw Wednesday and Enid in the episode where they switch styles. Wednesday all cheerful and colourful, and Enid super serious and dark. If you haven't watched season 2 yet, I'll try not to give away any spoilers, so I won't explain why they've switched styles, but they have. I took a freeze frame of Wednesday skipping and tried to sketch her out in pretty much the same pose, but just in those big simple shapes. I tilted her head slightly to make her look a bit more joyful. Then I drew serious mode Enid. Arms folded, deadpan stare. Drawing a frown in kawaii style was a little tricky since none of the characters in the book had anything but a smile. So I did use the manga book for a little bit of inspiration here. I gave Wednesday a classic kawaii face, very similar to the ones in the tutorials. I did have some trouble drawing the plaits, but thankfully they're going to be painted black, so hopefully you won't be able to tell once it's finished. I gave her a snuggly, cosy jumper, skirt, socks and boots. I realised that there was a lot of empty space, so I added that colourful drink that Wednesday orders while she's dressed like this. Had to take a freeze frame of that as well for accuracy. And of course, we couldn't forget Thing. Then I went over everything in a fine Posca, since kawaii line work is a little thicker. I did realise afterwards that Enid's bangs should have been more rounded. They were a bit too pointy for true kawaii style. Overall though, this drawing felt a lot more in my comfort zone. Even though sketching people instead of animals was a challenge, the same basic principles did apply. Next, I erased all the pencil lines and grabbed my masking fluid to help protect the characters while painting their backgrounds. Except the masking fluid had kind of separated, and that was gross. Once I'd removed whatever that was, I used it anyway. While it was okay on the fine liner, it smudged the Posca lines. I cleaned it up as best I could and just decided to paint carefully around everything instead. Then I used my watercolor pencils and paints to add a splash of colour. So let's make this part a spooky musical time lapse. And here is the finished result. And these pages happen to be the perfect size to stick into the Create This book. Under the prompt, create a duo. Draw two people or things that are better together. Sure, there are a lot of things that I would tweak if I'd drawn these digitally, but I am really happy with how they've turned out. I pushed myself out of my comfort zone, tried new styles, and drew humans again for the first time in a long time. I can't decide which page I prefer. I think they actually work best together, just like Wednesday and Enid. And there we go, my not so kawaii mystery box inspired art. Even if the box itself was a bit of a letdown, it did end up being really good inspiration for exploring some new drawing styles, and I feel like I've learned so much from Yishan Li's books. I definitely feel a lot more confident drawing people now, so I shall link her books in the description if you would like to give them a go as well. I'd love to know if you reckon that these items did deserve a spot in that mystery box, or whether it was a bit of a stretch. And which style do you reckon suits Wednesday and Enid best? As always, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure to check out my Etsy store as well, because there is some super spooky Halloween themed Penelope and pumpkin goodies. And since they are printed on demand, this is probably your last chance to get your hands on them in time for Halloween. If you would like to check out the video where I learned how to draw kawaii animals, I shall pop that on the end screen. Bye!